We have vending machines being wiped out by scalpers by the day. We have GameStop not doing pre-orders, messing up people's PSA submissions, and the market is just in turmoil and a lot of people are confused. What does this mean for the future, or is this going to be the end of Pokemon? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. You're watching the channel Dr. Applesauce 2. My name's Will. It's another beautiful day here in Texas. I hope you guys know that I love you, God loves you, that there's an awesome plan for your life. Today, I have a very special guest. Then we're going to discuss all of the crazy nuance that's going on with Pokemon. Today, I'm joined by Alex from Nostalgianomics, and we're going to talk about all of this insanity. Alex, how you doing? Let everybody know who you are in case they don't know and where they can find you.
Doing great, man. Yeah, Will, it's great to be here, dude. Yeah, longtime collector, been in the hobby about 10 years now. Eventually kind of took it into like more of the like investing business route. And these days, man, content creators still collect, do some pack rips on the channel, do a little bit of everything. And it's kind of like a great time and then also an awful time to be in the hobby at the same time. So it's kind of fun, kind of a fun day.
It's a really good point, and it's one of the reasons why I specifically wanted to have you on, because something that I see a lack of in the Pokemon community is people. It's kind of twofold. People who on the outside might not agree on things, and then also being able to have civil conversations. Like you and I have known each other for a while. I like you. I think I would consider us good friends and acquaintances, but we don't really approach the hobby the same way. And we don't always agree on the same things, but we can have a mutual respect for each other and learn from each other. And I want to show that to people. And in that vein, there's some crazy topics to talk about, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, we need to make Pokemon fun again. You know, we need to get back to having fun and okay to be able to disagree, okay to see things a little different, okay to approach it different and not be at each other's throats. It's getting crazy out there.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's what I'm hoping to show people. Let's start off with the first topic, the vending machine insanity that's going on. There's all this controversy with vending machines. One, it seems like they're cool, but then you can never really find one that has anything in it because the vendors are being paid off or the employees at the store are being paid off to let people know. And then actually some news that you might not be aware of. I made a video yesterday talking about how all the machines were shut down, so new limits could actually be implemented. And they all came back on today with new rules and only 2 units per transaction per credit card. And now there's already people out there trying to use 4, 5, 6 credit cards and getting in trouble and getting trespassed from stores. It's crazy.
I mean, dude, I just think all of this stuff is going to be solved eventually when we eventually get enough product or demand falls. Like, I mean, I truly, I don't understand technology enough to understand like how you could actually make it work. But it seems like there has to be a way for some of these sites, especially Pokemon Center, to make it truly like a limit to where maybe by address, like only this many can be sold per this address. Or I mean, obviously they're trying with the vending machines, but I think it all just starts at the top. There needs to be enough product out there because, you know, you and I both know there was a time when MSRP was a ripoff.
Yeah.
Right. You would go in the stores, you would go on the Pokemon Center and no one would buy it because it was way too expensive.
I'm not paying $160 for
market was cheaper. Box. So it's like, we need to get back to that point and it'll kind of clear up all these issues. But until that happens, I don't really know how we stop it. There's like, it seems like every rule they put in place, there's always someone that finds a way around it.
Yeah. I think it's just, honestly, it's twofold. It's one, putting rules in place to make it more difficult. So like with the vending machines specifically, because that's the hot topic right now, making it to where they say limit of 2 per person or 2 per transaction, and then kind of making it to where you can't run your card again. That helps, but then you just get somebody who brings 5 credit cards, right? And then, you know, I mean, it kind of helps, but people that want to be prepared, that are looking at it like, hey, I can go clean this machine out and make $750 profit, like they're going to come with multiple cards. So I think it's implementing certain rules to just make it more difficult. And there's, you know, like specifically with Pokemon Center, because these vending machines are owned and like operated by Pokemon. They're Pokemon Center vending machines. They're literally called Pokemon Centers. So like you have to sign in with your Pokemon Center account, right? And then in order to buy something. And I think doing things like that, like if I'm in line and I see, oh, you got to sign into the Pokemon Center vending machine, right? So you got to sign into your account. and then I see somebody buy there too, and then log out and sign into something else, I'm going to say, hey, you already bought something with your account. Like you can't keep signing in to multiple accounts. And I think having a little bit of that social pressure like that, not going in their face and recording, not cussing them out, not calling them trash, but the social pressure of, hey, like these are the rules implemented by Pokemon, and now you're trying to log into multiple accounts. That's not okay. And then it, like in a video I posted earlier today, a short, a similar thing was happening, and a customer pulled the store manager and was like, hey, this isn't right. And the manager was like, hey, you can't do that. I talked to the vendor. The vendor said it's 2 per person. Dude's got a stack of product on the floor, and he's like, well, it was letting me do this. And the manager was like, it's 2 per person. You had to be using multiple cards. So I think a little social pressure like that would help in those situations. But in the long run, it's just gotta be patience. Like, this is not something new that's happened. And this can even kind of transition into another topic. A lot of these people that are really, really upset about all of this right now, like, oh, can you believe this is happening? Can you believe somebody's charging $150 for an ETB? It's like, no disrespect to anybody watching this that wasn't around 5 years ago. Do you not remember when this happened 5 years ago? And if you don't, that's okay. Oh, so you've only been here for 4 years or 3 years. Cool. A lot of people don't realize that this is a cycle that happens every 5 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, I keep waiting for it to be like one of those things where like people would put a chain around an ATM and pull away with the pickup truck. That's where it's going to get to the vending machine. We just start seeing like whole vending machines getting taken at this point.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, it is a cycle that comes around. Like, I mean, honestly, it's gotten way crazier than even I thought.
Yeah.
And I know obviously like people that like approach the hobby more of my side with like the investing in the business. Everyone thinks like, oh, well, you guys are loving this right now. All the normal people can't get it. And it's like, I don't like this any more than you guys do. I don't like when I see such intense price growth on products where even I get like a little worried.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like not being able to find stuff to sell, or I can't buy from distributors or buy from other sellers I usually buy from. I have to go try to track it down in the open market and then charge way more than I feel I should be charging for packs. Because I'm with you. Like, I'm with everybody out there. I think packs are too expensive. But at the same time, if I can't get them cheaper and I'm trying to run a business and make a margin, I don't really have a choice either. And so it's just like, I can't get the packs cheap. The customers are there. They want to buy the packs. I need to have the packs for them. And so it's kind of a mess right now. The demand is just all out of whack with the amount of supply that's out there.
Yeah. And I know a thing that's really interesting that I don't think a lot of people think about when in regards to people that operate kind of like you do, where you do buy in large volumes to invest, you do rip and ships, you sell packs and stuff like that. A lot of the folks that are operating with integrity, like you, like Pokey Any, like Rudy from Alpha Investments, there's people have said horrible things about all three of y'all. People have said horrible things about me. People say crappy things about everybody. If you're going to put your face on the internet, people are going to trash talk you, right? But the thing about people like y'all that are operating with integrity is, yeah, like you said, you don't like it when prices are insane like this, because prices are crazy. That doesn't mean you're making more money. Folks like you are typically operating off of a margin, and it's the same margin whether you're buying a booster box for $100 or a booster box for $250. It's the same margin. It's not like you're trying to grossly overcharge on things. The margins are the same. And so if things are more expensive, you have to charge more to keep the same margin.
Oh, I would love it to go back to just be able to say, hey, I want 20 cases for my distributor. I'm going to charge $3.50 or $4 per pack on the stream, and everyone would be happy. I'd be happier too, because I wouldn't have to try to track down a bunch of random sellers and get 100 packages coming to my house, having to break them all down, figure out who sent what, get everyone paid out. It's honestly much more work, and it's honestly like worse price points, it's worse margins. Everything's worse for everyone right now, and that's what a lot of people don't see, because people have this idea that, well, you're just getting everything from distributors and upcharging it 2, 3, 4x. It's like, guys, maybe other people do. I have I have one distributor, a very small account. I get very little of any product for releases. Everything I buy basically is from a secondary market, just like everyone else. And yeah, I mean, you could definitely say I'm part of the problem because I'm running a rip and ship and I'm selling at these prices. But at the same time, it's just like, look, I'm just trying to run a business like anyone else. You don't have to buy from me. You don't have to buy from any of these people, but product's just not out there no matter where you look. I can't find it. You can't find it. Like, no one can find it right now.
Yeah. That leads into the next point too, that I think is my biggest revelation throughout this whole process. I'll be the first one to admit, like, over the past 4 or 5 months, I've learned a ton. And I was the first one to jump on the hate train and say, you know, LGSs are awful for doing this. It's unacceptable for, you know, pre-orders of something this extravagant, 3 times what MSRP is. And over this process, I've learned a lot. And what I've really learned is, in my opinion, one of the biggest issues and the biggest scalpers, if you want to call it, in the whole game are distributors. There's no price control for Pokemon from Pokemon for these distributors. And so these distributors just allocate and sell things to stores based on the market. If the market is bad, they're going to sell it cheap. If the market is really, really hot, that first wave is going to be MSR, or is going to be wholesale. And then the next wave is going to be market or close to it. But the caveat is, did they really release the whole first wave, or did they hold a lot of it back, right? So this is something that I don't see a lot of people talking about, understandably, because the people that are in the know about this wouldn't really want to risk their distribution accounts. I get it. So it's something that I'm trying to make content on and show people, like, hey, maybe it's not always the LGS. Like, this is actually happening. Is distributors charging market on things. Like, there's these rumors of, you know, reprints for Scarlet and Violet, right? Surging Sparks and everything below, except for most of the specialty sets. And I made a video the other day, like, hey, this is great, but is that actually going to even help anything? Like, are distributors going to charge fair prices? Because Surging Sparks is $250 a booster box right now. I'd bet $100 that distributors are going to charge $200, $210, $220 to stores on that reprint. What do you think about all that?
Well, actually, yeah. So I mean, again, it's all rumors. Because I don't actually have Magazine Exchange, it's one of the larger distributors. But I've already heard that they've already been like starting to put orders up for some of these reprints at like $180 to $200 a box on things like the Surging Sparks, the Twilight Masquerades, Paldea Evolved. And so that's why I always tell people, like, this whole thing with reprints coming, it doesn't mean the prices are going to crash, because the distributors are not going to allow it to crash, because they know that even if stores can make a margin, they're still going to buy it. Because like you said, if Surging Sparks is $250 and they offer it for $180, $200, well, the stores are still going to buy it even though they don't like it, but they know they can sell it for a profit. So they're going to take it because they need product in their store because they can't get any. Yeah. And so, yeah, it just kind of, it all flows back to the top. I think Pokemon needs to get a little more strict and with the distributors and say, hey, look, if you're not going to follow and sell at these prices, we're going to start giving the product to other distributors that are following our rules. And eventually, like, put in some, I don't know, some laws in place, or not laws, but like, you know, I guess procedures in place where they have to follow. If not, they get cut off from Pokemon, because it seems like the Wild West. It seems like Pokemon gives it to distributors, they can do whatever they want with it, and then the people who get the brunt is the stores, when the stores are trying to say, look, we're not getting anything for those prices anymore.
Yeah. And then I think another point is, a lot of people say, well, the store should just don't buy it. Well, that's not really an option sometimes, because the way these distributors work, it's like, hey, kind of like the mafia. It honestly, to God, it feels like the mafia. It's like, hey, the more you buy from us, the more we'll take care of you, right? The more you pay your taxes for protection, the more we're going to protect you. But that one time, he didn't buy the $220 Surging Sparks restock where we wanted him to buy 10 cases, but also wanted him to buy 20 cases of build and battle decks. He didn't buy that. So come Destined Rivals, we'll give him half a case of booster boxes. Yep. Like, that's not hyperbole. That's real. That really happens. And I think that's another piece of the puzzle that's like, if these stores are kind of press ganged into having to buy these to keep their accounts open for the next set, or to keep their accounts in good standing for the next set, they have to turn around and sell it, and they can't sell at a loss. It just adds more complexity and more fuel to the fire, you know?
Yeah, and you don't want, LGSs all get squeezed out of business and then everything be ran by GameStop, Walmart, Target, Costco, and Sam's. Like, you don't want that. Yeah. And so you kind of want game stores to be able to make a little profit and take these items at the same time as you want things to be, less expensive. It's just, it's a mess right now, man. Like, I'm not smart enough to know exactly how to fix it all. I think it does start with Pokemon and works its way down from distributors. But having all the answers, I really don't. I think obviously they're going to have to keep doing what they say they're doing, prints in the ground, whatever they call it. They're going to have to continue to do that, and hopefully demand eventually subsides and prices get back under MSRP. to where it's no longer it's no longer a good business move to go out and buy out these vending machines and buy out Pokemon Center because there's no profit made anymore. Once that happens and prices are lower than that, I think that's when we see things calm down.
Yeah. I think I'm going to move into a topic that's a little more controversial. And I think people will understand why. And obviously, I'm not pointing any fingers at you. And I'm going to preface why.
Hey, feel free if you need to.
I believe, and a lot of other people believe, that rip and ship culture, the massive surge of rip and ship culture, I think it's probably the number one catalyst to why things are the way they are. I'm not saying it's the only reason, but I think it's probably like the biggest driver and motivator. And let me explain why. First and foremost, a lot of people don't know this. I was there at the beginning of rip and ship culture when Whatnot, who started rip and ship culture, started their live streaming platform for Funko Pops. I was a sponsored creator for Whatnot. I have not been a sponsored creator for Whatnot for a long time. And so we started doing Funko Pop streams, and I said, hey, you know what would be cool to stream on Whatnot? Pokemon cards. And here we are.
It's your fault.
So, but here's the thing. The like massive popularity of Whatnot. Now you have TikTok Shop, you have Drip, you have eBay Live. We're not going to get into the semantics of what those platforms are good at and bad at, but you have all these platforms that pretty much, if you have a Pulse and an iPhone, you can get an account to stream on one of those, if not all of them, right? There's, between most of those platforms, there's really no type of vetting. It's just kind of open season. And that's allowed anybody with, you know, a 30-day no interest credit card and an iPhone who can get an account at one of those four platforms to be able to go buy something and turn around and flip it for 2 or 3 times the price. And that just compounds over and over and over and over and over. And then you look at the massive quantity that's being ripped. And I think the key difference, and then I'll let you give your opinion, the key difference between that and people like you and people like Danny Phantom and people like Pokerev is you didn't rely on an exterior platform in order to be able to do rip and ships. You did the hard work of building up a social media following so you could do rip and ships on a website, on your own YouTube channel, which is completely different than just being able to apply to Whatnot and get a Whatnot streaming account and go stream on Whatnot. So I think that's different. I think the few of y'all that have done that, I really don't think that that's affecting things very much because it takes so much more legwork to actually build that up.
For sure.
But being able to more or less apply and get an account at one of these 4 other places and just start flipping and ripping and shipping, I think is having a massive compounding effect on hype, on availability, and on pricing.
All of it, dude. That's the biggest difference between this market and the 2021 boom. Is in 2021, you know, you had the demand, you had all the
it was all starting
opening packs.
Rip and ship culture was just starting then.
Yes. And so, like, you know, back then it was blamed on the investors again. But the problem is if everyone's investing, right, then when the hype dies down, everyone's got a bunch of products, and the people who have the paper hands, they're going to start selling. And that's what causes those market crashes and prices to really decline. The problem here is everyone's ripping the packs. And so, like, so much of this product is getting deleted from the market. And even people that were holding or planning to hold for long term, they're seeing their boxes they bought for $90 now worth $200 plus. And they're like, well, I was hoping to make 100% of my money in like years. I'll take it now. So they're selling to the streamers. Now they're ripping it all. Now it's gone. And so I just think more product is being deleted now than ever. And there's going to be less around in the future. And it's just, I don't know, man. I just don't know where this ends. Like, it needs to be a drop in demand, a massive influx in supply. Because the supply they're creating, even if it's more than ever, it's not enough to keep up with the rip and ships and the amount of packs being open. Because, you know, it was already crazy going from when we were kids, you know, your parents getting you a couple packs at a time to like 2021 where parents were buying their kids like full booster boxes at a time. Well, now we're in the pack. People are opening thousands of packs a night. Like, we need to. So when people say like there's billions of cards printed, yeah, there needs to be, and there needs to be more because we're opening like 1,000 times more packs than we ever did in the past. So it's a problem.
Yeah. At any given time, you could have a couple dozen streamers, conservatively, let's say at any given time, you could have, you know, 2 dozen streamers that are live throughout a 24-hour period. opening an average of 1,000 packs per time. So now you've got 24,000 packs ripped in one day. And then you just like, that's very conservative, right? And then you start doing the math and you're like, oh, you can really start to see. So when I say, I think
then those pallets don't look so big.
Right, they don't. They look tiny when you start to actually do those numbers. And so when I say rip and ship culture is the number one catalyst to all this happen, I'm not blaming it. I'm saying in that context, and you start to think about it that way, kind of emotionless, not thinking about it in a negative way, but just like, oh, this could be where a lot of this product is going when you kind of put the pieces together. I really think that's what's happening. And I kind of agree with you. I don't know, like, I don't know how that changes. I don't know how that stops outside of Pokemon just printing things to the ground, but they're already printing things at capacity. And it's going to be interesting to see like what changes are actually made, because the money's there. The accessibility to get the product and then turn around and sell it very easily is there. And it's not really going to go away. You know, it's not going to just disappear. People's ability to stream and go on Facebook Marketplace and sell stuff, it's not going to just go away overnight. So I don't know, like you said, I don't know how that gets better. I do know for certain that it's not going to get better soon, because we've got the Destined Rivals, and then you know what next year is the 30th anniversary. So I would assume, I would make an educated assumption that through 2026, it's gonna be crazy like this, if not more.
Yeah,
so.
And I hate talking on things that like I do, because like it seems like you're trying to shill your own like business, whatever you do. But like one thing I will say is like, let's just imagine the fact, like, you know, boxes get back to $120 and rip and ships charge $120 per box. So you can either go to open market, buy a box, have it shipped to you, open it yourself, or pay $120 to rip and ship, right? It's all the same pricing. A lot of people are still going to do the rip and ships because it's kind of like playing a video game in your room by yourself, or hopping online and playing with others, right? You're always going to want to do that with others. And I feel like the community that's built in the rip and ship streams, and everyone kind of like rooting for each other, you getting pulls and everyone like congratulating you. It's almost like more of a culture now, and more of like an event, more than just like, oh, you're buying packs, why don't you just buy them yourself and rip them all at home alone or whatever. It's like, because I don't want to do that. I want it to be a part of a group. And so I think that's part of it too. It's becoming like something people want to do for entertainment with like kind of their friends online or the community they built in these streams. And so I just think it's here to stay.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going anywhere, and it's convenient for people, right? It's a convenient, like, oh, I want to see. I mean, I did it the other day. Me and my best friend, we drove up to Beckett to drop off some cards at Beckett, and we're driving on the way back, and I was like, I got $60 in my account on this streaming app. And I was like, I can't cash it out. So I went to a Weiss Schwartz stream, and they had boxes for $40. And so I bought 2 boxes. So I spent $20 out of pocket. And the guy, and I remember saying this, I was like, I appreciate that this guy's just burning through the pack, because I don't care. I just want to see if I get the cool hit. I know what all the cards are. We've already opened a bunch of, like, him and I opened 14 boxes of this fairy tale set at Collecticon LA. I was like, we know what everything is. I spent $20 essentially for 2 boxes to take a shot. And, you know, it's fun, right? I get it. And I don't participate often, but in situations like that, I can totally understand. Last topic that I want to talk about, and this is one that I've talked about a lot and I think is really interesting, is GameStop. GameStop's role in all of this, because it's anybody with half a brain can look and see that they're trying to switch over to an LGS model, or what I've been calling a corporate LGS model, because they have 4,000 stores. What do you, I want to, without
you guys had stores closing by you, by the way?
Yes. Yeah.
We have too.
They've closed 300 stores since last year. So they went from like 4,400 and some change to like 4,000 and some change. So it's been about 300 that have closed. But still, they have 4,000 stores. It's like 3,600 stores in America, something like that. But all these things that they're doing, right? No more pre-orders, all the shenanigans with, you know, pricing, they're buying product and selling it at market now they're doing PSA submissions. And here's my tinfoil hat, right? Okay, GameStop has enough stores, enough power with their thousands of stores nationwide, that if they started doing something and it worked, it could cause an effect from every other store in the country. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Like, here's how I always think about things in like the masses, because in this community, we kind of get like this tunnel vision and kind of think everyone thinks like we do. But the average parent, the average mom or dad, they are much more likely to go in a GameStop than a local LGS.
Yep.
It's more inviting. It's not as like intimidating.
It's comfortable.
All those good things. And so
everybody knows GameStop.
Yeah. And so, as everyone knows, the casual hobbyists are the ones that really run this hobby, like not the real deep ones like us. And so if they can find a way to capture that customer base of all the casuals going to GameStop instead of trying to find it online or local LGSs, it's going to be a problem. And, then GameStop is basically the one setting market price, which is going to be a real problem. And it's like you said, it's already working. And so, I'm with you, dude. It's very clear what their goals are, and they're actually implementing it all too well.
Yep. Let's put the tinfoil hat on again. What do you think? How do I phrase this? So GameStop is no longer taking pre-orders. Okay. So they don't take pre-orders on it. You have to come in release day, right? They've figured that out. Cool. Fine. Whatever. On top of that, they're sourcing sealed product from other means. That's all they've really said. It's from other means, whether that's distribution accounts where they're paying close to market, whether they're buying things from customers like they would for video games, like an LGS would. That would make sense, right? You walk into your local game store with an Evolutions booster box and they'll offer you, I'll give you $600 for it. And they put it on the shelf for $850, right? Whether GameStop's doing that, but you combine the no more pre-orders with now they're selling things at market. Do you think on release day, things will be market price? Or do you think they'll actually sell at MSRP? Or the hybrid, they'll sell at MSRP on release day, but right after release day, they go up.
I could see that.
That's the one that
I could see them doing MSRP on the brand new sets, but I think everything else, like we've seen, what was that one picture of like Obsidian Flames ETBs at like $80 or $90? I think that will probably be more the norm, and maybe like the brand new stuff will be MSRP. Or whatever market price. I don't even know what MSRP is and everything. Because people were showing bundles, I think, at like $30, but then some people were saying that is MSRP. I'm not even sure what all the items MSRP even is. We know booster boxes are like $161.
Yeah, so for the most popular items, so like booster boxes MSRP is like 160-ish, ETBs is like 50-ish, booster bundles is like 27, stuff like that. So it's the more common things, that's kind of the MSRP on things. Like the Blooming Waters, the MSRP was 60. That's why Costco's were just so insane because they were selling them for 45.
I would say it would really surprise me if we see 200 plus Journey Together boxes on release day. That would be a little crazy.
That's a big question that I have with GameStop. And I really think what'll happen is, release day, MSRP, and then any product that comes in after that, after release day, probably jacked up close to market. But still is the issue, because I've covered this so much on my channel and talked to a lot of people, and people are just willing to comment like, yeah, my GameStop, the employees have said like, yeah, we get first dibs and we buy almost everything. And so like so many people have said that, like saying, hey, the employees literally told me this, or people waiting in line and they're like, they've been in line for 2 hours and all of a sudden the store opens and like 4 dudes walk out of the front with a bunch of boxes, and the employee comes out and they're like, all right, we got 4 boxes. And they're like, well, who are those guys that just left with 35 boxes of what we're here for, right? And these are things that are happening. And my concern is there's going to be more product at GameStops now, combined with, did you know that every GameStop has 1 full-time employee? The manager.
I did not know. That's crazy.
Every GameStop has 1 full-time employee. That's the manager. Then they have a key holder that gets 32 hours a week. And then everybody else gets 4 shifts of 4 hours a week, roughly. These people aren't making any money. And GameStop is a hard company to work. It's a stressful company to work for it. So more product starts coming in. They're allowed to buy stuff.
Same thing's happening, at Costco and Sam's with the Sea and Skies and the Blooming Waters. They're selling pallets out the back to people. I mean, that's pretty documented.
Same thing that's happening with the vending machines at grocery stores, where people are like, hey, I can make $400 because I can call this guy and tell him that she's coming and reloading. Like, just, it's interesting. With all of the hype comes all of these crazy different situations. And I'll tell my bottom line and encouragement, and then I want you to say it as well. My encouragement to people that are collecting is like, don't quit. Like, you just have to understand that the market moves and collecting has to evolve and adapt over time. I'm not opening anywhere near as many packs as I would like, but what's fun for me is to observe. And then when something comes out that I can get my hands on affordably, I'll buy it and open it. Like some of the Chinese stuff came out, and that was fun. That, you know, I bought a bunch of that and had fun opening that. And then buying singles and maybe just picking up the things that you want, rounding up the things you want, or heaven forbid, actually play the game. It's a fun game to play, right? And people will say, well, it's not the same. I want to pull the card. I want to do this. I want to do that. I get it. But here's, you know, okay, nobody hate me, okay? That's an entitled attitude. If you really love collecting Pokemon cards, you're willing to adapt and adjust. But if your perspective is, I can't have it the way I want it right now, so I'm out, you're entitled, my friend. My encouragement is to figure out how to adapt and adjust the way you collect until things get somewhat back to normal, whenever that is. What about you?
You know, it's starting to change what I said, because like before, like I would say 1-2 months ago, I would say stuff like, hey, look, when we used to go to the store, the card shop when we were kids, they didn't have base set in stock. Our parents would get us Fossil, or our parents would get us the Topps set. No one wanted the Topps cards back then. And I said, look, if you can't afford Prismatic, it sucks. I get it. But, you know, go get some Shrouded Fable. Go get some Scarlet Violet base. Now it's like everything's through the roof. Now I can't even use that anymore because every pack is $6-7. So it's like, yeah, it's getting to that point where if it's becoming a strain on your life or finances and it's becoming stressful, this is where I get canceled for. It may be a good idea to take a break from the collecting at this point. Like, take a break, let things settle down, come back. Or like you said, just lower your expectations on what you're trying to do. Open less packs, collect the less expensive cards, wait for the more expensive ones to come down. Like you said, play the game, you know, take in content, you know, download Pokemon Pocket app. You can get a free pack a day on there. Like, find other ways to enjoy the hobby, because again, it's a hobby. It's supposed to be here for your enjoyment. It's not supposed to be here for your stress or this, like, you know, burden that you have to carry every day and worry about. And if it's becoming that because the financial strain has become too much, I hate to say it, but take a break for a little bit on the cards. That may be the best way. And maybe if enough people do that, the demand will fall and the reprints will come and it will drop enough for everyone to be able to get it at an affordable price again.
I think it's important to understand too that you're saying take a break, not like get out. Because I would completely agree with you. If it's becoming super stressful and you can't like disassociate yourself from what's happening, like, it's nothing wrong with taking a break. There's nothing wrong with that. You can just watch and observe and watch your favorite content creators and watch the big boys that open packs and have fun with that and be cool with that. If you need to take a little break for yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's important, like, taking a break, not just saying peace out, I'm done. Like, because I question, like, if you say peace out, I'm done, I question if you actually were a fan, or if you actually have been a fan longer than 5 years, you know, longer than, you know, 2020, 2021. Because I've been a Pokemon card collector since 1999. There's been ebbs and flows. It's been off and on, right? There's been times where I've taken breaks. There's been times where I took a break for like 10 years because I had just got out of high school and I was more concerned with girls and partying at the time than Pokemon cards, right?
Well, there's been multiple times in both of our lives, I'm sure, where we both couldn't afford hobbies that we wanted to do because we just didn't have the financial, you know, stabilization. Absolutely. I don't know.
So things are wild, but I think it's important to understand that there are ways that you can adapt, that to remember that it is a hobby. You don't have to overspend. Like, I'm not buying hardly anything right now because I want camera gear. I want to travel for my job. I have 3 kids. I've got a new puppy laying right here. There's other things that I would rather spend money on than a $150 ETB. And that's just my personal choice. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm still enjoying the hobby in a different way. So I think it's really important for people to figure out what that is for them. You know what I mean? So Alex, thanks for coming on. Tell everybody where to find you and what's something you have going on soon.
It's just Nostalgianomics, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. What we got going on, man? We're still pumping out the content. We make the market, you know, business news videos on the YouTube channel. We do the pack breaks, you know, 5 times a week. So if you guys ever want to come down, and here's the thing, even if you don't want to open packs, just come by and hang out. It's just fun to hang out in the chat and watch everyone else that does want to. And so that's pretty much what we got going on these days, dude.
Yeah, watching Rip and Ships on YouTube as a platform is way more fun, in my opinion, and it's a much better chat experience than on Whatnot or on.
And it costs you nothing.
Yeah, and it costs you nothing, and you can have a lot of fun. So I agree with that. Everybody, if you enjoyed this type of content, give it a thumbs up. It's free. It helps a lot. Go check out Alex over on Nostalgianomics. He's one of the few Pokemon content creators that I actually watch most of his videos. I make a ton of videos, and I don't have time to watch a lot, but I do watch his content. So go check him out, and you can watch there's a video. So I don't know what's going on with the format here. There's a video somewhere YouTube says you'll like. Watch that one next. Like I always say, find somebody to love and serve today. Be the change you want to see in the world. See you next time.